excited to be chatting with Dana Stone today. We were just talking offline, and she's just amazing. Anybody who has met this woman here knows that what a bundle of energy you are, and just adorable in all sense of the world. But I have been following Dana for quite some time because you've got a lot of really amazing things going on, and seeing you just running in the same circles and kind of seeing what you've been up to. You've done the corporate gig, right? And then you turned and you started a business based on a need, and you've kind of jumped into these different ventures, which has just been freaking awesome, and a lot of which is gaining a lot of momentum, which we'll talk about in a minute. But before we kind of dive in, just welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you're here.
The feeling's so mutual. I'm totally always following you.
Yeah. Fan curling over here. So give us a background of you. Let's just start from the beginning.
Well, it all started one dark story. No, I'm just kidding. Corporate life. It was hard, right? I kind of joke and say I got to parent two different worlds. So I have younger kids at home and I've got grown adult children. And so when the older ones were children, I was corporate mom.
Yeah.
Right. And I wasn't super present. I don't know. Maybe that's not true. But I always felt like I wasn't super present.
Yeah.
My daughter and my oldest son, they're like, yeah, you were everything. You're the Girl Scout mom, all the things. But it was when my youngest son was a year old, and he had not slept a single night in an entire year. And so I had two teenagers, I had a toddler, and then I had him, and I had my full-time job. And I was literally falling apart. Most of my day was spent crying in the floor of the closet, like hiding. And I was like, one day I woke up and I was like, I should Google this, right? Who doesn't Google their problems? Why isn't my child sleeping? And I found this program and I implemented it. And 5 nights later, he was sleeping through the night. And then it was like the heavens parted, the angels rose, and I was like, I want to do this. I want to help families sleep through the night. And that was where the whole entrepreneurship started.
Yeah.
And I went and, I studied and I got certified and I came back. And so that was 2015.
Okay. I was just going to ask you when that was. Yeah.
And that was how it all started.
Wow.
And so need and desperation and tiredness. Now, I didn't quit my corporate job 5 years later. I kind of did both simultaneously, because that's what we do.
Why not? Got nothing else to do.
Let's do it all. But there was that day that I was finally like, nope, I'm going to do this. Enter BNI, right? That was one of the things that allowed me to grow the business to the point that I could quit the corporate job.
Yeah.
And so, I found a lot. And as I was coaching all these families to sleep through the night, people would come and they would say, well, can you help me? Like as an adult. And I'm like, I'm like a one-trick pony. If it's not your baby not sleeping, I got nothing for you. So I went and I got adult sleep certifications and I started working with adults, and then realizing like what kept them awake is totally different. So I got life coach certifications, which led to this whole new business, which led to business coaching. And then finally now in story branding and video production with Rocket City Momentum.
Holy cow.
So it's like this, it doesn't seem like it's connected, but it's all connected.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I want to start back at the beginning because there was something that was definitely planted in you early on that sort of, I think, seeded that entrepreneurial spirit. Not everybody has it, right? But when you're in a point of not desperation, but you're in a point of losing your mind, right? You start to think, and then you have a solution to that problem. Light bulb goes off sometimes, right? And it's like, if I can experience this for myself, surely other people might want it, right? But talk a little bit about your upbringing and what you studied and kind of what those early passions were in you, because I think that helps tell the story of where you are and how you got to where you are today.
That's so funny. My dad was an entrepreneur. He was always starting another business and another business and another business.
Your blood.
So I think it might be. He actually, finally, after 30 years of working as a mechanic, bought the shop and he's the boss now. So, but he had a paintball shop and he had like this and that, and I was always doing something, some scheme, right? Yeah. So I think maybe I saw it very early on. I think we talked kind of about in the questions, like, what's something no one knows about you?
Yeah.
Like, I was a teenage pregnancy. Like, I had my first child when I was 17.
Wow.
And I was married, bought a house, and had a child before I was 18 years old.
Holy cow.
And so talk about like having to grow up super fast and all of a sudden. And I think that was another thing that just kind of, I have this unrelentless like drive that like just never give up, just keep going, chasing, do what you want. And I think that the career path that I've been on has proven to me that you don't ever settle, and no decision that you make is ever forever, except for maybe your marriage. That's forever, okay? Maybe on my second one, right? But that you just make a better decision with better data, and then you turn and you go towards that, and you like that more, just go towards that.
Yeah.
And then maybe you pivot and pivot and pivot.
Right. Yeah.
So, yep, deep-seated in there, and just always reinventing myself to be who it is that I imagine that I want to be.
Interesting. And so it's funny that you say that. I bumped into someone the other day who taught, and he was probably in his early 50s. And I was just talking to him at a networking event. And he's like, yeah, he said something, I'm going to mess it up, but he said something along the lines of, I've turned over a new leaf several times in my life and have experienced several different career paths. And it's interesting because I think I'm 44 years old. I think that there's a time in your life, probably half a generation ago, where it's like you get into a job and you stay there. And to think about pivoting or changing a career path and doing something totally different in your early 30s or
Right?
like what? That doesn't, you don't
Reinvent yourself completely?
I know. And this is a thing for you,
Yeah.
So that is not a trait that a lot of people carry. And I
Oh.
think it's due to, but then I think it's due, I mean, maybe there's a lack of self-confidence in their ability or, oh, well, if I pick this thing, I need to stick with it. Otherwise I'm deemed as a failure. So that's a really interesting trait that you have of wanting to kind of reinvent and just constantly push yourself a little bit.
That's true. My husband says I have a 5-year like expiration. Every 5 years,
give it 5
something
years.
big has to happen. Like we're
Yeah.
moving or I'm changing careers or something.
Yeah.
But you talk about like, so I'm 44 and I just completely changed my career path. I'm starting all over again. Now, does everything build on? Yeah,
Absolutely it
absolutely.
does.
It's not like over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you're ever stuck with the decisions that you made in the past.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I would imagine that, you going down this path and kind of venturing into these different initiatives really almost refills your cup every
Yeah.
couple of years and challenges you in ways that maybe you wouldn't be challenged had you not taken a different path,
I don't
So
like being bored.
no, yeah, nobody likes being bored. Yeah, nobody likes being bored. So let's talk a little bit about BNI, because BNI has been a big part of your professional world.
Yeah.
And I think BNI is part of a lot of people's professional worlds for that matter. It's a huge organization all over the country, all over the world, I guess, for that matter. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that and how that's played a role in your career.
Well, it's kind of funny how it kind of entered into my world because I remember attending a meeting. I had like what they called subbing at that time. I had gone and visited some as a favor to someone else to kind of fill their spot while they were away or whatever. And I just kind of knew it wasn't for me. It was like, oh, ew.
Yeah.
This feels like a huge time suck. And this feels like, no, these aren't my people.
Yeah.
Right. But then I was at a Catalyst event and I had just gone through their fast track program. And this was early on in my business. Right. So I was just getting things going. And there was this cute woman named Jenny Mayers. You may know her. And she was like, you've got to come and check out my BNI group. It's not like any of the others that you've ever experienced. You just got to come. And we'll say she was pleasantly persistent. And then I'm like, fine, I'll go. As a favor, because I don't like saying no, I will go. But when I went, it was, oh my gosh, these are my people. I just instantly connected and I felt like, wow, these people get me. I was in a room full of entrepreneurs that were all go-getters and they were all chasing the same kind of thing that I was. And I was like, oh my God, this is the thing that's been missing in my life.
Yeah.
And so I really plugged in, and so I started the business in 2015. I think this was 2016, maybe like June.
Okay.
And joined, and I have been a member ever since. And so inside my chapters, I was, the vice president and then the secretary treasurer and the education coordinator. And you have all these leadership roles, grooming and helping lift everyone up.
Yeah.
In the chapter, right? All focused on that commonality of we're all small business. They're either going to be marketing professionals, they're people in sales, or they're business owners, which means they're in sales.
Yeah.
Right?
Service-based.
Yeah. And they're all trying to increase their reputability, that word of mouth. And they're all just out there trying to make it. And eventually, I guess I did a good enough job that, Megan and the rest of the team, Steve Levy, and they were like, will you be the area director for Huntsville? And so now there's 11 chapters that I get to work with. I have a team of director consultants that actually do a lot of the interaction with the chapters, but I got to step into that leadership role, and I learned so much about leadership because I was always a doer. And so if something needed to be fixed, I would just do it, right? And so when you step into one of these more leadership roles, it's like, oh, there's not enough of you to just go do it all. You can't just go do it for 11 chapters.
Yeah.
And so you really have to learn how to articulate what are the things that you see and how can change be made and how do you create a movement to invoke that change that needs to be made. And so that's what we're doing. And Megan Chitwood, who is the executive director of BNI, so she's overall like 44 chapters from Tuscaloosa all the way up to like the Tennessee line, like all of North Alabama. And she has this vision of what she wants to do with our region. She's like, I want every single member to bring home $100,000. She's like, even like the Mary Kay consultants that are selling, $10 lipsticks up to the roofers, which would be a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
They can couple sales and they're in. And so it's just, there's this camaraderie that we're all like, yes, let's just lift up business and do it together.
I love that. One of the things that I was impressed with BNI was it seemed as though it's a group that really leans into each other as well, like not only from a referral basis, but also a vendor basis, right? Like if I'm looking for a photographer, lean into your BNI group to find a photographer or whatever it may be, which is just a nice, easy access, I guess, to a great network.
It's easy, and you totally can't, you don't have to. Right? You could totally use somebody else.
Yeah.
But you know that person so well and you see them every week and you've passed so many people and you've seen their work ethic. So you either love them or it's like, and what I find is sometimes people aren't the best fit and they're usually going to fizzle and they're going to fall out. Because when you have to look people in the face week after week after week and you're not the type of person that follows through.
Yeah,
that's really not gonna, you're not gonna last.
Yeah, that's gonna surface pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I would be curious to hear your perspective on just what the pulse has been with the small business community in response to the news about tariffs and just with the new administration and a lot of the changes that have come down. And we talk just in the marketing world, right? We talk a lot about the instability of the industry and the market and don't know what's next. And, unfortunately for us, oftentimes marketing is the first thing to go. I know you know that very well.
For sure.
So but what's been sort of the dialogue that's come out? What are some of the resonating themes that have surfaced just from the members?
What I kind of hate to see is and I've seen this across the board where, it's just a hard time. Numbers are down.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's just what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but that's yes and no. It just means that you need to approach things a different way.
Yeah.
How things have always been are not working now. And maybe that goes to my resilience and my let's change things up.
Yeah.
Right. But even the people that I coach, like I've seen some tough years. And what's really hard is when there's like a small business who has like maybe a large vendor, they have a large account, and then suddenly this large account is like starting to become slow to pay.
Yeah.
And, but this poor little small business, they're still making their payroll. They still like, it doesn't stop just because they didn't pay.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I've seen these small businesses that have almost gone bankrupt because they can't take that volatility. They can't like just float 20 grand that didn't come in this month.
Right.
Right. That's make or break. And you can say, oh, that's their fault. They should build a stronger business. That's just such a high amount for like these smaller businesses to handle.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing I see happening.
Yeah.
And so we're really probably going to see some businesses closing, just like what we saw COVID. There was a wagging effect, right? Like it was after the fact. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can't.
Right.
I put everything I had into this.
Yeah.
And then
heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
Gosh.
And you see them. So it's like, when do you know when to cut and run?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think people make that decision too late too.
Yeah.
Because they're like, let's give it one more shot.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll make payroll. I can do it. So I would just say, be careful. I have actually got a big account right now that I'm waiting on payment from. And I'm like, I don't think they realize I had to pay all my vendors, all my staff, everything. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it could even be because, the workforce is so low. Like maybe there's not enough people in accounting to pay the accounts payable, right? Like who knows what the actual cause is.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh. Well, and it's been, I think, in a post-COVID world, and it was not just one and done, right? But it sounds like the need to diversify is huge, right? And thinking about a lot of these smaller businesses, how do you diversify that way if one person is taken out of that mix or one industry is impacted even, and that's going to trickle down? Like how do us being in the GovCon space a little bit, right? It's like you're definitely feeling that heat because a lot of these firms just don't know what's next. And so it's like, well, in order to be prepared, we're going to go ahead and pinch now, right? Which I can't blame them on whatsoever, but it's been a really challenging thing. And at least with COVID and the pandemic, you had all these relief funds. None of that is out there. Right now, it's just a waiting game. Everybody's sort of on their own, left to kind of figure out what's next.
And it's hard.
Yeah, it's a scary time for sure. It's a scary time, and I would imagine that groups like BNI are an amazing, outlet for some of that conversation and maybe just some venting a little bit too, because you've got your peers there with you, But geez. Well, let's talk about Rocket City Momentum because this is a new effort that has come out from you and a couple other folks. And I wasn't kidding when I said it's garnered a lot of momentum. Like there's a lot out there. So obviously you've been working with BNI and doing your thing with Live and Rest. And what sort of sparked this idea? Where did this come out of and what does that entail?
So I feel like I built a lifestyle business with Live and Rest. Right. So I still had the boys at home. I was raising, and they are now 13, about to be 13 and 11. Right.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh.
I know. But they were babies. Right. And I wanted to be at home with them. I wanted to be the mom that was at everything. Now I wasn't the type that like, I didn't homeschool or anything like that. Like I still wanted them to go but I just wanted
my time a little bit.
I wanted to be able to go to every class, party and all the things, right? Which officially end in 5th grade, apparently.
They do. No more class
grade,
moms.
They're
Forget
like,
it.
no, we don't need you here. They're on their own. So fine. So I was building this lifestyle business where I would just really, my overhead was low. I didn't bring in a whole lot of clients, but enough that totally paid my salary and I was good.
Yeah.
Right. So then now I guess it's time.
That 5-year mark.
I guess it probably was. And so I'm like, but I want more now, and I have more time, and I'm not needed as much by them. And so, but what I do know is that it's really hard to build a lasting, sustainable business on your own. And so I started to kind of just open myself up to possibilities of partnerships and collaborations, or even like who could I hire for the right team?
Yeah.
And actually, Lucas Scott, I actually had been coaching him for years. We became very good friends. We were colleagues through BNI, and he's actually president in one of my chapters. He's a DC for me. And so we had all of these interactions and working. And he was kind of at a point where his business was like, I can't do it all on my own either. Right. And I feel like I need that support and collaboration. Plus, we both are like super high ADHD. So, but with both of us being that way, we needed a common neutralizer.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend, Jennifer Smith, who was going through a big life change too. And she was just really like, yeah, let's do this. And so the three of us decided to partner and create Rocket City Momentum. But back it up a little bit, during COVID, Lucas and I had started our own little silly talk show called Great Day at Gateway. And it was because like all of the BNI chapters had gone online. And so after the meeting was over, we would stay on and we would just kind of chat and talk about what happened in the meeting, interview some people, and just it just, but when we went back into in person, it just kind of fizzled and died. But we loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, we would be like, here's your challenge. Go find something in the house that's, red in 3 seconds, as we're talking about business and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that sparked this, well, we need to have a show. We need to have a talk show. And so last year in like the August timeframe, we started filming Rocket City Momentum. We were like, okay, we want to tell the stories of people doing amazing things in the Rocket City. Like what's going on in the, it just ended up being like this really nice, just spread of people doing different things. And we talked to like Joe Martin about what was going on in like youth suicide, and realizing that youth suicide is like one of the highest,
the leading cause of death
for 15-year-olds.
10 to 15-year-olds.
And it was like, why? What is that about? And so we had a counselor come in, and we talked to the Wellstone about, their helpline, and we just kind of put an episode together around that.
Yeah.
So there'd be serious topics, not all just crazy and silly. And so we loved it so much. It was a passion project, completely funded on our own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was so much work. It was so much work but we did it. And we had, I think, 11 episodes, and we aired them, and they were fantastic. And we know that we're so good on camera together. And so we knew that it was the spark of something new. And so it was like, well, who could we get to kind of like come in and sponsor the show? What stories could we tell that, like, we don't want to just make stuff that nobody wants to watch.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the other big thing. People think just because you say it, they're going to want to watch it. No. It's got to be interesting.
Yeah.
And so we created the concept for this year. We're actually wrapping next week is our final episode to video it all or film it all. So we're following 7 entrepreneurs through the summer. We met with them. We talked about their challenges. They were all issued challenges by Megan Chitwood. BNI came in and sponsored the series. And we're trying to figure out, how does BNI plug some of those challenges that they're having, but really staying on them, like, okay, well, what are you doing to move your business forward? What are you going to do? And hold them accountable to it. And then
very cool.
Friday, we're going to see what happened. Yeah. We're going to see how they did. Like 7 weeks comes and goes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so that will be the whole, and then we'll start airing probably late September, maybe early October is when it'll come. And then we'll go every weekly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For like 7 or 8 weeks.
What's the series called?
Rocket City Momentum.
Okay, so it's called Rocket City.
Powered by BNI.
Got it. Yeah, I love that though.
So it was the love of that and that show that created the business, because we were like, let's do this. Let's start to tell the stories of businesses, like not just in that sense, but how can we tell their story so that they connect with the clients that they really want? Because
Yeah.
I was seeing the misses on the coaching side. He was seeing the misses, like people would go and get these beautiful videos and then they like post it.
Yeah.
And it's like, but it didn't really do anything. And they're spending tons of money, right?
Yeah.
We know film production is very expensive. Like it costs a lot, all the equipment, all of it. But you can't just film a testimonial and then just post it on Facebook and think it's going to change your business.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to build the funnel around it. You've got to like, what are you doing with this? How do we tell the story? How do little pieces point to the bigger pieces that actually move people into making buying decisions?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to do there is make it like more.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's pretty neat having the sort of the insight and expertise, if you will, from BNI, for just from a business perspective, kind of
Yes.
planting these, and then I would imagine, are they there a little bit to kind of serve as a consultative guide along that process a little bit?
Every week
Okay.
we have these checkpoints and Megan's there and I'm there. So I'm giving business coaching
Oh,
from
cool.
my side. She's giving it from the BNI side. Like, all right, well, what could you do? Could you ask for a connection to so-and-so in your BNI chapter? Could you visit another BNI chapter? Could you, what could you do with the resources that you've already paid for? You've already invested in this because a lot of the people in the challenge, all of them I think are already BNI members this season. Maybe it's because it's the circle I run. I don't know why, right?
Oh, but that's a great pool to pull from, though. I mean, why not? Yeah.
And they trust me, right?
Yeah.
So I find that people aren't willing to take as much of a risk if they don't trust you.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. That's exciting. So what else is involved with Rocket City Momentum? You've got that video series, but you're also there's business coaching associated with that too, right?
Yeah. And it's mostly based on like story brand coaching and then also like business made simple stuff. I do a lot on profitability. I find a lot of times small businesses will struggle with profitability, especially they do tend to overspend on marketing, but not just like, it's just like they're like, oh, if I put money into this, then my business will grow. And it's like, you really need more of a strategy than that.
I was going to say, there's no strategy there.
It's not just like, oh, go get this video, right? Or post on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's not a strategy, right? Is it? Megan, tell me, is that a strategy?
It is not a strategy. You heard it here first. No, it is not. No, Facebook is not your.
Yeah. And so we're trying to bring all of that together with Rocket City Momentum, the business. So we're going to come, it's Rocket City Momentum Media and Coaching, and then we have Rocket City Momentum, the show.
Got it. That is exciting. So I know you guys just started this year, right?
Yeah.
So like just a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So exciting. So what are some of the bigger things? You've got this launching in the fall. What's the next big endeavor that you all are going to be taking on?
Have we thought past
Have you thought
at this
past
moment?
your first
Oh
video?
my God. No, we've already started. So one of the cool things that we did with all of those participants is we are filming commercials for each one.
That's
so
awesome.
that will all be going out. We've actually been working with the Materials Levitation Lab at NASA. So we got to go and film on the regolith field and got covered in black regolith,
Cool.
which is moon dust, right?
Yeah.
Moon dust, I don't know.
So neat.
I was like, is this stuff toxic? And they're like, only prolonged exposure. I was like, oh, great. Awesome.
Wash my
Thank you.
clothes as soon as I get home.
So there's that. We've got, we're doing story branding workshops.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, unpack story brand just a little bit for those that don't know what it is.
Yeah. So Donald Miller is a fantastic author. He's out of Nashville, and he has a book called Storybrand. Right. And basically the whole premise is like approaching your marketing through story, because people love to connect with a story, right? Not just about me, Ma started this business 44 years ago. Like, how does your business solve the problem that this consumer has, right?
Yeah.
And they're probably not going to listen much unless they have the problem that you solve.
Yeah.
Right, to your marketing. So it's really about building that story up. And so I went and certified because I just adored it. And because I'm a certification junkie. It's a problem. It's really, I'm stopping. I promise I'm stopping. But the Business Made Simple coaching is through Donald Miller too in the Story Brand. So we're certified to actually take their framework and run people through the process and the program. And then we're using that story branding methodology into the videos.
Oh, very cool. I would imagine that's something that impacts like their messaging and their, I mean, everything that they do to market and promote their business.
Yes.
Yeah, that is super cool. And then they'll have those commercials that they can use to,
Exactly. And again, it's more like how can we create this whole system that tells a consistent message instead of just posting a pretty video.
Yeah.
Right? Like how does it fit into your whole thing? Now, we don't really want to recreate their whole marketing strategy. That's not us. We want to fit in and work with people that have that, right?
Yeah.
And how can we make it better?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a particular niche or size company or anything like that you guys are specializing in? I mean, I know BNI is a great pool for right now.
But if you think about BNI, it's usually going to be like the service industry. And I don't know if it's just our hearts or what, but it feels like the service industry, like you've got some really great service. Sometimes they're solopreneurs. Sometimes, usually maybe they're trying to hit their first million in revenue. They're kind of smaller. They can't, they haven't been able to invest in like a big marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Those tend to be a really good one for us because they haven't taken the time to think through what their messaging actually is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Do they often, and I know you guys just got started with things, but I'm curious if there's some sort of assessment or anything that you all do to kind of determine like whether or not someone is in need of that, right? Like how do they kind of determine that might be something that would be of benefit?
How do they know
them?
if they're a good fit for it?
Yeah.
Well, so typically a good indicator is that you have an amazing product, but you're not really converting. Like you're not seeing the conversions either in your, maybe you're running ads, right? Like, and you're not converting from the ad to the website or the website to the sales call or even in the sale. Yeah, there's like drop off points.
Yeah.
Right. And usually that's a little indication, right, that there's something wrong with the messaging.
Yeah.
Like people are confused. Yeah. They don't actually understand what it is that you do. You know that you're amazing. You know that you can help them and service them, but they're not getting that from you.
Yeah.
You're not communicating it very well.
Right.
And so we want to help what are the words that the other thing I see a lot of times is, and I'm guilty of this too as a small business owner, I'm using my language, not their language, right? And so we have to, we do a customer voice research to kind of really like what is it that your customer thinks they're actually looking for? Well, this is what we really do. Okay, but what does your customer think that you're fixing for them?
Two very different things.
Right? But sometimes it's hard for them to see that connection. And so that's why the working through the workshop and stuff really helps.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. With all of the coaching and everything that you've done through BNI, what would you say one or two common challenges that small businesses are facing right now? Like what is the thing that you hear over and over and over and over again?
I think I alluded to it a little bit earlier, the profitability. Parkinson's law, when we put all the money into one account and we see that we've got $30,000 in the account, people make decisions different. But really that $30,000 is some of it's payroll, some of it's operating expenses, some of it's taxes, some of it's, whatever. And so then really that $30,000 actually became $9,000 to run your business. Would you make a decision different when you knew you only had 9 versus 30? Right? Like this $1,000 investment to buy this table at this event. I have $30,000 sitting here in this account. Would you, okay, I've got $30,000.
Yeah.
$1,000, I could do that. All right, now you've got $9,000. And you're going to spend $1,000 of it on this event. What do you start to do now?
Yeah.
Okay, what am I going to get out of this? What's the ROI? Like, is it really worth it? And so what I see is a lot of small business owners, they just lump all their money and they're not really watching what the cash flow looks like. And I see this again and again and again, right? That's usually the number one thing. And once we fix that, a lot of the stress Okay. Not
Just
necessarily, because we've now
becomes a
pointed it
different type
out,
of
right? It's a
stress,
different,
yeah.
they're like, wait, now there's no money.
Yeah.
Like, well, there was no money before either.
Right. But you just looked like you had
it was
money.
kind of hidden. You were just spending. So that's definitely a big eye opener for people in the coaching space. The next one, probably planning fallacy, which is where we think we can get so much more done in a day than we really can. And so we make the to-do list and it's got 30 items on it and you're like, all right, let's go. But really there's so many things about this 30 thing to-do list that are counterintuitive and counteractive against your productivity, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're really clear about the 3 most important things, you're really going to get a lot more done. And I know people, they'll fight you. They will fight. Like, no, I need all 30 down.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't. Most of these you don't need to be doing. Someone else needs to be doing. You have to get better at delegation. That's probably the third thing I would say. You can't do it alone. You've got to build your team. If you really, really, now, if you want a lifestyle business like I had when I was just coaching on my own, totally fine. You just be the everything.
Yeah.
But if you're really looking for growth, you're really looking for momentum, you're really looking to up your game, you've got to figure out, okay, so how do I delegate this? How do I build the team?
Yeah.
And you've done a great job of building an amazing team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's interesting starting off. I think and I would imagine if you feel this way, when you get going, I'm like, oh, I gave myself a title of CEO. So that means I need to do everything and be really, really good at it. And very, very quickly, I was kicked on my butt and realized that I can't do a lot of it and I don't know what I don't know. And immediately you have that imposter syndrome where you're like, well, I don't even know why I'm here if I can't do all 30 things. And
how can I have somebody that's like working for me doing stuff that I don't know how to do?
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I think you just don't know what you don't know. And also too, when you're starting off, you can't necessarily afford to hire anybody. So you're having to do all those things on your own. I will say, I think one of the best things that I ever did was, and I know you did this as well, but engaged with the Catalyst early on, when I was prior to Flourish and doing something else, I worked with the Catalyst and then their Engaged to Entrepreneurship program. And it was awesome because it was like you just went during your lunch break, you brought your own lunch, you were there for an hour and you got a lesson on legal 101, right? Or how to, accounting and finance 101 for small business. Like, I don't math, so that was eye-opening. Immediately realized I need to get an accountant.
Check. One thing that I know I need.
I know. And I was like, oh, I can't deposit my first client check until I have a real bank account. So I had to sit on that for a week because and it's silly, but it's just stuff that you don't know, right? So, and it was through that experience, I think that you kind of come to that conclusion of you've got to figure out what you're really, really good at and try to delegate the rest.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're spinning your wheels and you're doing a solid 65% at everything as opposed to 95, 100.
You're right. It's like you don't know what you don't know. But sometimes I think like the small business owners just are like, I mean, there's so many that I've worked with that all of their personal and their business money is together.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? How are you doing that? Right? Don't you know? Well, why would they know? Unless they've gone to something like the Catalyst and someone told them. You don't know until you know.
Right.
And so it's like that cleanup is gruesome. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard but piercing that corporate veil, you don't want to get in trouble. You don't want that.
Yeah. I just didn't want to get arrested.
Right.
I was like, I don't want to go to jail.
And you don't want all them coming and taking everything, right? Your LLC means nothing if you've pierced that corporate veil, like you're moving all your money, right?
Yeah. It's a scary time. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so excited for everything that's going on with you and just Rocket City Momentum. That's just awesome. I love to see what you guys are doing and just seeing what's coming out of that. So episodes next Friday, you guys will get the check-in and then you'll start to drop those when?
Yeah. I think I'm so nervous to say because, editing takes that's
sometime in the fall.
sometimes next year. It'll be fun. No, just kidding. No, we are planning October is when that will start coming out.
Okay.
Give us 30, 45 days, get it all together.
That's so exciting, though. It really
Build the stories out, right?
Yeah. So are you, and again, I know this is early, probably too soon, but are you going to do another round of?
Yeah, I hope so.
Is that the goal is to kind of do maybe 8 or 10?
It was so funny because Lucas and I were just having this talk and he was like, well, this is so much work. Why are we even doing this? Like, should we not do it? And he's like, no, we should do it.
Just change it up a little bit. Just wants to complain.
I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, already from last season to this season, we learned so much because one thing that we started last season was we started dropping episodes before all of them were done.
Oh.
And that was not okay.
Okay.
Because then what happened, and then I got really sick and I lost my voice and it put us behind on production because I couldn't even, I literally could not talk one bit. You can actually hear it. There's like an episode where my voice is just starting to come back because we were about to miss our deadline and we had hit these hard deadlines. And so this season, it was like, no. All of the whole show will be done before we release episode 1.
Yeah.
And then we drip it out.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a big change. And so next season, we'll probably make a little more buffer.
Yeah.
Right. Like, okay, instead of 30, 45 days, maybe we're filming here. We're giving ourselves maybe the summer.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll film entrepreneurs on challenges during the summer.
No?
They all checked out. They were all on vacation. They were all like, and I was like, why did you say you were going to do this?
Right. Note to self.
Yes.
Do it in the spring.
Not in the
summer vacations. Don't. You got to work around that. Yeah.
Like get it done before summer and then let them like relax.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when we can do the editing or something.
Right. So let me ask you, how can someone work with you from a business coaching perspective? How can they engage with you and what you've got going on?
So rocketcitymomentum.com is kind of like the hub, right? You can set up a strategy call because first thing we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, like do a needs assessment.
Yeah.
What's going on? What do you need? What do you think you need? What do you really need? Those kind of things. And that's really the best way. Just kind of chat there. Now, if somebody's interested in BNI, they can reach out to bninorthalabama.com, I think is it. But you can always just send me an email directly at dana@rockcitymomentum.com and I will find you a chapter.
Yeah.
I'll find you a chapter that will be a good fit for you. Talk about, time preferences, but also personality, because I think one of the big things in these chapters is each one has their own personality that's kind of coming up. And I think if we really lean into that and put people that really work well together.
Yeah.
Right. That
they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great group that cultivates just so much energy and economic development, I would imagine, just between the groups themselves,
I think across the 11 chapters, we have like 286 members in so my area is Huntsville, Decatur, and Athens. So there's one, and then the 9 in Huntsville.
Wow. Holy cow. That's wild. That is just wild. That's crazy.
I love it. And it's so funny because what we find is like even cross chapter is a really big thing, right? And you would think like all 11 chapters have like a realtor and a roofer. There's like 5 standards that it's really hard to get those positions in BNI.
Yeah.
They're taken, right? But sometimes they come open. But the rest of the chapters mix. Some of them are B2B heavy. Some of them are B2C heavy.
Oh, that's good.
There's a lot of real estate services that chapters are kind of heavy in those because you start to get in. If a roofer's there, they're going to see the gutters are like messed up and they'll be able to refer that. They'll see the HVAC is not in good the concrete's busted up, and it just makes for easy referral circles.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
And then like in the B2B, right, like you get somebody that's starting a business, well, you're going to need a website, you're going to need this, you're going to need that, and get you going.
Yep. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's good because it cultivates a great network of things. People need services from each other, so that's awesome. Okay. Well, get in touch with Dana. She's awesome. Love her to death. Congratulations on everything that you've done. I just love it. And I'll check in with you in 5 years and we'll see what's next.
If I've started my next career.
Exactly.
What's next?
What's next? I know. We'll decide. We'll see. Thanks for joining us.